Hi, I'm Deb Krause, President of Eden Theological Seminary, and I am in the Worley Chapel, a beautiful and inspiring space at the center of our campus and at the heart of our community of learning and faith. And it seems like the perfect place from which to invite you to a conversation with our advancement team leaders, Vice President for Advancement, Mary Schaller Blaufuss, and Director of Development, Sandi Boehlein. Mary and Sandi and I have a conversation about you and all the ways you give to Eden Seminary, through your prayer and love for the school, through recommending prospective students for our programs, or perhaps participating in our programs yourself. And of course, through your essential financial gifts. In all these ways, you give to propel the seminary in our mission to be a school of the progressive Christian movement, following Jesus to participate in the redemptive love and work of God in this world.
Thank you so much, Sandi and Mary, for meeting with me today and sharing about your work here in advancement at Eden Seminary. And really excited to talk to you about your sense of your particular vocation and purpose and how that fits within the mission of Eden Seminary.
Came to Eden early in 2015, and prior to that, I professionally was doing software implementations for higher education institutions. I started thinking more about my own call to ministry, which was verbiage I was not really clear about before.
I love working with Sandi and hearing your call story, because my call story is much different. I am an alum of Eden, been out in doing parish ministry and doing global mission work and doing disaster and development work and creating leadership opportunities. And I come back to Eden in order to continue that sense of theological formation and call that involves the whole world.
That the way your call stories connect with the purpose of the seminary, it's an amazing equipping for our school in terms of a team to communicate the mission, vision, values of Eden Seminary to so many different constituencies and to do it from the heart. I'd just love for you to share about your experience of navigating this time and what it's meant to work in advancement during this season.
In the advancement office, we started talking about our work as both visibility and continuity. And our work really is communicating and bringing people into the work of the whole institution. So in the visibility piece, started identifying places in the school where there's even greater opportunities for our wider Eden community to be involved and engaged and participating. So e-forums, where our faculty and staff of Eden were offering reflections during this time of COVID-19. And it was a wonderful way of having people participate from all over the country and all over the world. We got to have our alumni who were in Sri Lanka and who were in Montana and Pennsylvania, all to be part of the same conversation.
Say that I'm grateful for your vision in really having us focus on the continuity, and especially during COVID-19, as we've had to learn how to adapt. And one thing that has struck me is it's not only about connecting people with Eden, but it's connecting people with each other.
Our learning out of that in seeing the way that people are connecting with each other has played into the way that we're doing communications. So how do we tell what Eden is and how Eden is doing that? Well, we look at our alumni, we look at Eden connected friends, and that's the way that Eden is impacting the world, and that's the way we want to tell our story. People have really been engaged in the Black Lives Matter movement and have been out on the streets and have been creating poetry and have been preaching and have been organizing. We've been giving our statement of what Eden is through the lens of, this is what our alumni, and these are what our Eden connected friends and our congregations that are connected to us.
I'm really inspired by how sharing the story is really a way of just inviting more people to participate, to belong to the movement. When you think about now and moving forward at Eden in the work you are doing, what excites you? What are you looking forward to in the next year or so?
I'm excited about connecting to congregations in some different ways, building those relationships with congregations, because Eden is a school of the church. And so one of the things that we created a few months ago was a Facebook group that was called Leading Online, Progressive Christian Ministers. And that came out of the idea of one of our students. And I'm looking forward to that being even more robust as a conversation for how, as a co-learning space, we figure out together what it is to be church in these days. And I'm looking forward to the ways that Eden can be part of that.
I'm looking forward to growing the Eden community. I'm thinking right now of some friends of Eden that are not graduates, but they are excited about things that they can do with their legacy. So they want to leave a legacy for making the world a better place for the common good. So they support Eden financially through their estate plans or through their wills. And so honestly, those are things that matter. We also, I want to say, we understand that graduates of Eden more than likely did not answer a call to ministry to become wealthy. Other ways to financially support Eden, besides just giving a lot of money. There are ways that you can just remember Eden through planned giving vehicles that don't cause financial burdens on your family now.
My understanding of fundraising is rooted in Matthew. And in Matthew, Jesus says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And I think that that speaks a lot to, we are part of what goes on at Eden when we offer our treasure. And our treasure includes our financial gifts. It's very much a spiritual exercise to be involved, to be part of a legacy, to be part of planned giving, to be part of involving our whole selves in this ministry.
Thank you. Thank you both for all of the work you're doing to broaden the sense of belonging and connection, to brighten the pathways for people to bring their treasure and their heart.
I am courageous. I am resilient. I am Eden.
I am creative. I am global. I am Eden. We are Eden.